It's officially Flipmas, and this year I'm flipping my way to Christmas. Starting December 1st, I'll be dropping 12 furniture flip makeovers every other day, all the way through Christmas Eve. We're talking curbside finds, Facebook Marketplace rescues, and a whole lot of paint magic. And if we're good enough, hopefully Santa will come leave us some supplies under the tree for us to use throughout the process. Each flip has its own story. Some are total disasters, and some are dream pieces. But every single one is getting saved from the landfill and turning into something worth showing off under the tree. If you love a good before and after, satisfying sanding shots, and that fresh paint reveal, this series is for you. So grab your cocoa, turn up the Christmas playlist, and follow along for the 12 days of Furniture Flipmas, because this holiday season, we're making old furniture merry and bright again. Welcome to Flipmas. Let's get to work. Welcome to Flipmas, Day 7. We have another matching set of nightstands, this time in a French Provincial set. I got them for only $20, which is always a great steal. This one I already have a client lined up for, so we're going to do something a little non-conventional, and it does involve taking the tops off. So let's get to work. I almost didn't find the set. It was one of those situations where you went to a house to pick up one piece of furniture, but ended up leaving with more. And when I saw these, I almost died right then and there. I've been hunting for a set of French Provincial nightstands that will match a previous French Provincial dresser that I did for a client. She loves her dresser so much that we've been hunting for some nightstands to match. So I was over the moon when I found this set. Unfortunately though, they are not solid wood, so I think we're gonna have to do a little extra work, but we'll be able to get them to match the original solid wood dresser just fine. But first, let's get these tops off. It was my first time disassembling furniture like this, so I'll share what I learned. Do you see these screw holes? There are about 2 to 3 screws on each side of the furniture that attach the top to the base. So once you locate them, it's so easy. Just unscrew them and the top can easily pop off. I was worried they were going to be glued together, but they actually weren't. Next up, let's remove these old handles and wipe off that old dust. Since these are not solid wood, I can't sand them back and stain it, so we're just going to scuff sand it and do what the kids call a Pottery Barn refinish. I'll walk you through it. Step 1 here is grabbing a soft sanding pad. I like the Surf Prep ones because they are extra squishy and can handle these curves really well. My sander's in the house for a bathroom remodel, so we're just using the old manual hand sand this time. Once these front details are sanded down, I take my firmer sanding pad and hit the rest of it. Step 2, let's cover up the open tops that we've created. I love using this tape and plastic sheet combo. I think they work really well and are easy to apply. This will keep the inside of our nightstands protected when we start spraying paint and primer. It's a beautiful day out today, and since I have such small portable pieces, I'm going to take advantage of spraying out in the yard. Any excuse I can take to avoid setting up my big spray tent is a great one for me. I love spraying outside. You get good lighting, good ventilation, and extra elbow room for working. But moving large heavy pieces out is not ideal, so it's normally an occasion just for my nightstands. Also, I've become very wary of painting out in the sunlight. I've seen paint and top coat crack when drying because the furniture was simply too hot from sitting out in the sun. It's not a hot day here and the sun isn't strong, so I'm not concerned for this specific case, but if you can, always try to find some shade to paint in. My primer is always step number 1, and with such good ventilation, we're ready for paint pretty quickly. For the faux wood look, you start with a matte or flat neutral beige paint. The color I tend to grab is called Antler Velvet. It's by Sherwin-Williams, and I just get a quart of it at the Home Depot since that's what's closest and convenient for me. But be sure to grab it in matte or flat finish. No gloss is needed here. And 2 coats is usually enough to get a solid base. The faux wood look really comes together when you brush on a dark gel glaze. My preferred one is a Rust-Oleum in the color Aged Glaze. It took a while to figure out the best application method. I've seen so many different styles, like using the faux wood graining tools or brooms, but sometimes the simplest method is just as good. And my simple method is using this 4-inch fluffy deck brush and a little bit of water. I like to give the surface and the brush a little light misting of water to help our glaze spread evenly. It can be really thick out of the jar, so if you go in totally dry, you might have a hard time. But spread the product around, coat the entire surface, and then just brush it in even strokes with the wood grain. The fronts can be a little tricky because there's a lot of different directions that the faux wood grain needs to be running. So take your time and think about if you should be brushing vertically or horizontally. This change in wood direction is what makes it natural and believable. I've heard from some of you in the comments that even using a fluffy makeup brush is a really great way to get into the details, so I'll have to try that sometime. The beauty with gel glaze is that you can brush on as little or as much as you want. I'm trying to match it to a light wood dresser, so I'm using very little of the product, but if you want a darker wood look, just slap more of that on there. It's totally customizable to your liking, but that can also make it a bit tricky to make sure you're applying an even color to each section, so try to be consistent. With just 2 drawers each, we're breezing through this project. Again, mist it with water and make sure you get every corner and groove covered in product. Then when you're happy with the coverage, brush it back and forth in the direction of the imagined wood grain to get a realistic finish. Repeat the process on all the drawers. I refuse to use any other method than a sprayer to apply top coat over this glaze. Even when I let the glaze dry for days, if I swipe over it with my brush and some top coat, it can start to lift and smear. Trust me, I've had to redo so many pieces in the past because of this issue. If you don't have a sprayer, just buy an aerosol top coat at the store and at least do your first coat with it. After that, you can use a brush just fine. You already know my top coat of choice lately has been one that has a matte finish. I give it 2 solid coats to ensure everything is locked in and protected from damage. Do a light sand between coats to knock down any of the rough edges. Now that our base faux wood look is done, let's move on to the main event, our new tops. I was a little hesitant of this at first, but she wanted to add marble tops to these French Provincial nightstands. She has good taste, so I think this was a trust the process type project. We ended up picking out these beautiful marble pastry boards since they were the perfect size and a fraction of the cost on Amazon. Fortunately, neither of them cracked or had any issues because I always worry about stones cracking during transit. You already know I use my friend ChatGPT to figure out the best way to apply these. And then went scrounging around my husband's garage cabinet of potions and sharp objects until I found these beauties: epoxy resin and hardener. I'll link below the specific ones that I used. I certainly don't know much about this, but ChatGPT said it was perfect for this project. Oh, and my husband wants to let you all know he used it to fix delamination on our RV and it held up great. Whatever, back to our marble tops. Mix equal parts of hardener and resin together, then slap it on those edges. Grab a friend and carefully lower the marble down onto the nightstand, making sure to measure so it's evenly spaced and centered. Add some pressure on it and then let it cure. Home stretch, or so I thought. Let's get these new hardware handles on. But a little problem. These drawer fronts are so gosh darn thick that even my longest screw isn't long enough. But before you start running to the hardware store, let me show you this trick. I have a super wide drill bit, so let's just use that to solve this problem. Super carefully drill into the existing hole about 1/4 of an inch. It'd be smart to mark with a tape how deep you need to drill because I definitely overdid it on some of them. But essentially, you're creating a countersink drill bit here. But now with this extra 1/4 inch that the screw can sit into, we have just enough poking out of the front end that our poles can attach easy peasy. Alright, let's take a trip down memory lane, back when we pulled these girlies out of a teenage boy's room. They were a hidden gem waiting to be transformed. And where we ended. These beauties are refreshed and ready for their next chapter. I love that we were able to match them to her existing dresser while also bringing a twist using the marble pastry board tops. I know I certainly love it, but what do you think? Are marble tops coming back? Should I try to incorporate more marble into future pieces? Check out my previous video to see her stunning $1,300 solid wood French Provincial dresser transformation. It was a favorite for sure. And now onto the cold hard stats. What you've all been waiting for. I bought these for $20, used about $15 in materials to create that faux wood look, and about $10 for nude hardware. And for all you curious cats, my client paid for the marble tops herself, and they are about $150 each, so $300 total just for the marble. In the end, I charged my client $600 for this set. This set required a lot of various skill sets and branching out of my comfort zone, but I'm so glad that I did. Thank you for watching my Flipmas series. Be sure to come back every other day for a new video.